Good morning. We're continuing looking at the identity of Jesus, the object of solus Christus, the great cry, one of the great cries of the Reformation. We've been looking in Hebrews chapter 1. I want to read verse 2 and 3 with you, and we'll look at this latter portion of verse 3. It's actually kind of in the middle a little bit. Verse 2 says, "But in these last days he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed the heir of all things, through whom also he created the world. He is the radiance of the glory of God and the exact imprint of his nature. And this is our focus this morning, he upholds the universe by the word of his power." This is saying that Jesus is the sustainer. He sustains everything, holds it up by the word of his power. We get similar language in Colossians 1, again, that great Christ hymn there, where we get to see in Colossians 1, verse 17, similar language emerges. And it would be typical for us to see that, because as we're looking at Colossians 1, remember Hebrews 1, remember John 1, we're seeing a lot of the same kind of themes that emerge. So in Colossians 1:17 it says, "And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together." Now, here's the application from this. The idea that Jesus is the sustainer of all things is what you need to apply to your life, that principle, when things are going very poorly, things are going bad, you're feeling down, discouraged, and you feel like hope is about to be lost. You need to be reminded that he is the one who's sustaining everything. Now, what that means is that God doesn't let himself off the hook in the darkness. He doesn't let himself off the hook in the difficulty. He is sustaining the world in the midst of your darkest days. That's the only thing, by the way, that really can give meaning and purpose to the events that are occurring in your darkest days. That lets you know that they're not merely emerging by happenstance, that you don't have to feel as though you are a victim of circumstance, and you don't have to feel as though it's meaningless. Instead, you can anchor on the fact that the God of the universe has chosen, even in dark times, to sustain the activities of the world, and in doing so, he must have a purpose, that there must be a greater piece of it that fits into his larger story, that this data point, though dark, fits into the bigger anthology. So I want you to be encouraged by the sovereignty of Christ in sustaining the world even when things look bleak and dark. And that ought to be an encouragement, because then you know that it's not for naught. So that's why you can praise him even in the storm. May the Lord encourage you today as Jesus sustains you and everything this day.